Hey, middle-aged gamers, we are back because Adam is here. So you missed us last week live, but don't forget all our live shows are always in the YouTube tab. YouTube is not deleting them, unlike Facebook and Meta. We'll talk about that another time. So you might have seen this. I saw this on Instagram, and I thought this was really cool. It is the Death Stranding 2 Collector's Edition. I guess was unboxed or unveiled by Hideo Kojima. Is that the guy?
That's
I
the
don't know.
guy.
Adam will talk. Adam will talk about this. I don't know anything about any of that stuff, but I just looked the box set. I love more gaming stuff. I need more bling, and I was like, oh, besides the bling, Adam can tell us what is really happening with Death Stranding 2.
I can. Is that so? I'm going first. All right. Fantastic. Okay. So yeah, Death Stranding 2 was announced a long time ago, but we actually got a release date, and so the game is going to be coming out on June 26th. Although you can get early access with June 24th if you get the deluxe edition or the collector's edition. And pre-orders go out on March 17th. So you have just a few days, about a week until pre-orders go live. And to honor this, we got a pre-order trailer, which is about 10 minutes long. So it is a really long trailer. There's a lot to go through. So just a bit of a recap for those of you who either haven't played Death Stranding in a while or those of you who haven't played Death Stranding at all. The game takes place post Death Stranding, which is an event which resulted from multiple void outs, which are where BTs, which are basically these ghost entities, show up, and because they have antimatter in their bodies, if they come into contact with a physical body, then they can cause basically a giant nuclear explosion. So this basically just at once, the whole world just got multiple void outs and just communication was cut. There's this material called chiral crystals that get into the atmosphere. They cut off communication, so basically different pockets of humanity are no longer able to communicate with each other. They're all separated, and this chiral stuff also causes time fall, which means that if anything it touches, it accelerates time. So traveling between various human settlements is very difficult. So basically the human race has been fractured across the world, and it's your job to create networks that will allow these pockets of humanity to be able to communicate and share information and basically just reconnect. So that's basically the goal of the first game. So since then, what it says in the trailer is that this is taking place 11 months after the events of Death Stranding. And what is new is that people are now moving freely between the world and the beach. The beach is the land of the dead. And servers have been established along the beach, which now allow automated deliveries to be carried out via the chiral network. So now Sam no longer has to, go out and physically transport these things because that's all been automated. Also, there is a thing called a plate gate, which is now connects all continents. So originally you basically Sam was within the former US. Now he's able to go to other parts of the world. So now, humanity is starting to reconnect. However, all the events of Death Stranding have started tar currents, which are shaking the earth and causing a bunch of disruption. The environment is becoming warped due to chiralium, which is the chiral crystals. And you have this new big ship thing called the DHV Magellan, and it's riding these tar currents. So, humanity is finally reconnecting. But that sharing of ideas comes with problems. And part of that is this new kind of cult or faction that seems to be, mysteriously spreading throughout the beach. So that is where this game's going to take place. So what we can expect from this new trailer is that we're going to be getting a lot more information on still mothers. So still mothers are where you get your BBs. Those are the little baby that Norman Reedus carries around. BBs allow people to see these BTs, BTs standing for beach things or these ghosts. So normal people cannot see them, which is a problem because if you come into contact with one, you're going to cause a giant explosion. However, when you see them, you can avoid them. So, having a BB is really important, and we get those from still mothers. We're going to get a lot more information on that. The guy who starts the intro to the trailer is smuggling them into the US through Mexico. So this seems like something that happened in the past. We're getting a lot more biomes. We see a desert, we see a jungle. Of course, we see tundra, and not just like in the mountains like what we got last time, but kind of flatter areas, with water and whatnot. We're getting some natural disasters this time. Before we had all the timefall storms, but now we're getting sandstorms, we're getting avalanches, that sort of thing. So a lot more is going on in the world. The world's a lot more vibrant. We're getting new kinds of BTs, including what looks like a BT Voltron, where it takes multiple BTs and they connect together to create a really, really big one. And then on the other hand, we see one where they merge with the ship, and that's one too. So we're gonna get some giant kaiju fights in this game. We're also getting a lot of new tools and spears. We see Sam tools and weapons. We see Sam using what looks like a spear to stop a truck in its path. We're getting also new transportation methods. We see some monorails. It looks like we're getting a customizable truck. And it looks like we have some vehicular combat going on in the background too. So all in all, very exciting. A lot of stuff going on in this trailer. I highly recommend you check it out. And if you haven't played Death Stranding, definitely go through and play that, or at least watch some sort of video that kind of recaps the story. But this is a game that I highly recommend you play, because I often get asked the question, if you could go back and replay a game for the first time, which game would it be? And for me, I'm usually fine playing a game a second or third time, but Death Stranding is really a game that's designed for that first impression. You know, cresting a hill and you're walking in silence and suddenly the music hits, and when you know it's coming, it doesn't hit the same way. So this is really something that's meant to be experienced, not told. So I do highly recommend you play the game if you get the chance. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Like I said, it comes out in June, so it's not that far away. And pre-orders come up in March 17th. And I know Antoine always says, don't pre-order, don't pre-order, don't pre-order. I'm sorry, Antoine. I am pre-ordering this game as soon as I can. So definitely looking forward to it.
Adam, are you getting the collector's edition?
Probably not. The collector's edition, I was looking it up. The collector's edition is like $200 something. Really expensive, but also being in Taiwan, sometimes getting these collector's editions are very difficult. They don't ship to Taiwan. That was the same thing with my Final Fantasy VII Remake. I had to get it shipped to my parents in the US and then have them ship it over to me. And that means that I can't play the game until much, much later, maybe like a month later or so, because I have to wait for it to arrive there, and then I have to wait for it to go from there to here. So I'll probably I might get the digital deluxe edition though. But yeah, I think I'm gonna pass on the collector's edition, even though that is a pretty cool statue of a BT right there. But yeah, I think I'll just go digital deluxe this time.
Antoine, anything to add about Death Stranding 2?
First one was already too complicated for me. I get a headache just trying to understand the plot, so the two is gonna be the same. Plus, you know, I'm still pissed at Kojima for MGS5, so I'm not pre-ordering, you know, from this guy who delivered a game which was not finished. And I know there's context with Konami, you know. But still, I'm not. And plus, what? You finish a chapter and then all of this done by Kojima. Yeah, you made the story. Fantastic. We know it's you. You don't need to. Anyway, sorry. No, I'm not gonna play. I'm certainly gonna watch Adam play and see, because I still think it's fun to see the reconnection. But I'm not gonna understand anything, so
Just ask on stream. I'll answer everything I can.
perfect. I will.
All right, then. Antoine, you sure you don't want to take a stab at your story while we have the time?
I'll try to do it quickly. Okay, so let's try. Hello, village gamers. Some studios. Okay, so first of all, Korean told me that I only have 8 minutes, so I'm gonna read the scripts. Very sorry, I don't have time to diverge. And we are back. So, hello, village gamers. Some studios have had a golden age. So remember, you know, Bethesda with Fallout and Elder Scrolls, Blizzard with StarCraft, Warcraft, Diablo, BioWare, of course, with Mass Effect and Dragon Age, and more recently, you know, From Software. And I'm not gonna insult you, you know the game already. And so many other studios that I'm not talking about. They had all the time in the light, right? But today I'm gonna talk about a Swedish studio created in 2014. Only have 3 games in the portfolio, and everything they touch is gold. And I'm gonna talk about 𝙎𝙪𝙥𝙦 Studio. So if I tell you 𝙎𝙪𝙥𝙦 Studio, you're gonna say, I have no clue what you're talking about. And I'm gonna tell you, A Way Out in 2018, 9 out of 10. It Takes Two, 10 out of 10. A Game of the Year 2021, yes sir. And today, Split Fiction, which probably is a Game of the Year contender. And no, yeah, if you know about, you know, the story of these studios. I'm not gonna talk about Brother: A Tale of Two Sons because simply Joseph Fares, which is a director for Azalite Studios and created these two games, also created this one, but he was part of Starbreeze Studio and not Azalite, so now it doesn't count. And actually, that would be very interesting for another video to talk about Joseph Fares because that's very funny. This guy, before being a video game director, he was actually a movie director and shot 5 movies between 2000 and 2010. So very atypical background for him, but apparently it works fantastic. This guy loves stories and he can tell them very well. So back to the present now, coming out of the 2021 GOTY, a lot of people were curious to see if Azalite Studio could do it again. And did they? Well, apparently, yes, they did. So we are following in split fiction. We are following 2 unsuccessful authors, Mio and Zoe. One is writing sci-fi, the other is writing fantasy stories. And finally, they may have the chance to get published. And you follow them when they go to a meeting with a tech company. So usually tech company don't publish your books, so that's why it's a bit strange, it's a bit shady. And of course, there will be an incident involving an experimental storytelling machine, which is pretty fun. I think it's Mio. I don't want to say something wrong, but no. One of them is suspicious of the tech, of course, which consists of putting you in some kind of a bubble where you will live through your stories, through the stories that the artist created. And there's a little scuffle, and boom, Mio or Zoe, basically one of them penetrates the other bubble, which is not supposed to happen because bubbles are individual. And she will get into, well, they're gonna have these 2 universe, sci-fi and fantasy, mixed up, which is really cool, and that's the setting of the game. So, of course, same as in It Takes Two, the 2 protagonists are completely polar opposite, which, will need to work together and learn to work together to get out of this malfunction. So the message that you can take, sorry, why did I write that? The message that you can just take stories directly from the artist's mind, yes, of course, sorry, and repackage it, for retail only, because that's exactly the point of this machine, right? Put artists in bubble, get their stories, repackage it, and sell it to the public. Really resonate with all the AI kind of problematics we have in our time. So it's also kind of quite not political, but almost, like the problematic of our time kind of issues. So it's really cool on that front. And as usual, gameplay is fantastic, varied and on point. Yes, little glitches and all, with the 2 characters who can, shadow each other on one platform. Little things, but really not much other than that. If you every review, whether it's professional journalists or players, are ecstatic. So the multitude of stories give birth to an actual working multiverse. Hi Marvel, with new stories and gameplay to be enjoyed. So as I was watching the IGN video, the IGN journalists say a sentence which I found fantastic. They found a way to play SSX and Shadow of the Colossus in one game and still make sense, which is fantastic. And on top of that, you can add dragons and ninja and an actual star blowing up in the mix. Really, you are ready to live the dream. Actually, literally, yeah, you're living the dream of these authors. So that's absolutely banger of a story. It's a feel-good game where dying is actually never really punishing, right? It's really made so that 2 people with very different abilities can still play together. So it's really well balanced. It's not a Dark Soul, which like you're gonna cry tears of blood. No. It's kind of casual, and it's a game where stories wants to be played. Even if you can't pass some point, the game will tell you, do you want me to skip you to the other checkpoint, so that you can bypass this particular piece that you can't pass and just, keep playing. So this game just want to tell a story and want you to live it without punishing you for being a crappy gamer, because sometimes it's kind of hard to play, right? And that's it. So I really think, what, I don't recall seeing this game in the Game of the Year anticipated game, Maybe I'm wrong. Please tell me. I should have checked that before the video. Anyway, but definitely that's gonna be a contender for the Game of the Year award at the end of the year. It's maybe a bit early in the year, but we'll see if that affects it or not. And I really recommend you to take a friend or family member and play this game because it's gonna be a fantastic experience. And that's it. I try to keep it very short. What did I do? Yeah,
Pretty good.
Whoa.
I'm impressed.
Woo. I really stick to the script there. I wanted to, but you know.
Adam, thoughts?
Yeah, when I originally saw the trailer for it at the State of Play, I was kind of like, yeah, you know, like the humor wasn't really hitting me or anything, so I wasn't really impressed. But then somebody put a clip up online of one of the scenes where they're riding a motorcycle and the other one has to defuse a bomb, and to do it they have to go through like a CAPTCHA, and just that whole sequence was just brilliant. And after seeing that, I was like, okay, now I'm on board. So yeah, it looks interesting. I haven't played It Takes Two, or I think I have Brothers, but I haven't played it. So I haven't played any of this guy's previous games, but I know that they're really popular. But I'm a lonely guy. My wife doesn't play with me. I'm so poor.
I wanted to tell the setting of It Takes Two, but that would have made the video far too long. So
yeah, I know what It Takes Two is about. Yeah, I just haven't played it.
I mean, it's a good game. I enjoyed It Takes Two, but it's like, I think neither of these games will be Game of the Year because, I mean, It Takes Two was fun, but it was also a little bit difficult, and especially like me, if you hate platforming and jumping around
Game
and
of the Year.
dying. It Takes Two was Game of the Year?
Yes.
Game of the Year 2021.
Oh, 2021, right?
Yeah.
Definitely not in this
Of course.
climate, right? Like, if you look at some of the comments about Split Fiction, right? It's like, of course, with the thing you're seeing, the rise of the fire, they're like, oh my god, a game about two girls. This is woke again. So
I don't care about that. And the big difference with It Takes Two is that there's really the difference of gameplay as well. Because you have puzzle to solve in It Takes Two. Here you really have a bit of Nier Automata. You have a bit of a shooter, like do you remember Type R? You know, the little side with the ship just shooting at monsters. You have about 10 different kind of gameplay there, which is really cool.
very, very. I mean, it is cool, right? But it's also like if you're playing with somebody like a partner, it's going to be difficult if they're not used to certain types of gameplay.
But as I said, they made it casual. You know, like really, if you're stuck and you just can't pass a play, the game is going to tell you, do you want to go to the next checkpoint and just bypass this entirely? Okay. And you go.
Oh, that is awesome. More games need that. But even then, like, after I load that difficulty on Kina, I gave up after that. I was too humiliated.
Nah, it's fine.
But yeah, some people will be able to do that. For me, no, I can't. Like, if I have to like skip something, I'll just be like, okay, goodbye, see you never. So Antoine, are you gonna pick it up?
Pick it
Split
up.
Fiction?
Likely actually.
Nice.
To play with either my because I played the Lego Horizon with my daughter, and now
Okay.
she kind of likes you know, to have she doesn't like to play games unless it's, you know, co-op like this. If you play with her, she likes it. So maybe when it's cheaper in 6
That's good. Yeah, it's like 50,
You know me, right?
50 something, $55, $50 at the moment.
Steam, I think I saw it.
Because I saw the price is 1,500 Taiwan dollars, so it's about like $50.
65 here.
Oh God.
Is it? 65, yeah. Canadian.
Yeah.
So 50-ish. Because remember, the Canadian dollars doesn't worth anything now with against the dollar.
Well, I mean, that's It Takes. When It Takes Two, when it came out, was $30, so they've like increased the price by 20.
But it's looks like it's really cool.
Oh, no, I mean, I loved A Way Out, and I loved It Takes Two. It was really fun, but it was also like difficult. Both are awesome. All right, talking about my story. So today, guys, I have a really cool thing. Like when I was researching games for like what am I gonna play this year? Avowed won, and then the second game was like I need something towards the end of the year because I'm only playing 10 hours of gaming a week, and I was asking the guys about how much time they're playing. So I'm like, oh my God, I'll only be finished Avowed in like June or July or August of this year. I'm playing the same game for the next 5 months. Wow, that's a lot. Um, so I'm like, okay, what is the next thing I could cover for the channel? And this sort of struck out to me because the concept is unique. So don't you wish there were more of you? And now we get to find out. So if you're familiar with the studio, 11-bit Studios, they came out with this game, This War of Mine, critically acclaimed. It is a kind of a dark, depressing game and a very realistic game about the horrors of war. You might have seen this out. It's literally on every platform now, mobile, iPad, Android, PC. It's out on Nintendo Switch as well. And they've decided to make this game, right? And what the Alters is, right, is like, it's a game where you are well, it's a survival cooperative game, or survival game, not a cooperative game, where you send to a planet and you have to survive on this planet and accomplish certain tasks. The only thing is you are a single person, but the way you survive and the way you get things done is you make clones of yourself. And the cool thing about all these clones is you go back in your memory of your whole life and you make decisions like, okay, at this point I chose to study biology, but instead of choosing to study biology, I'm going to choose math. And then you make a clone of yourself who studied math and became a doctor of maths. And this person is going to help you do your stuff. And that's the cool thing about that, right? Is you get to make decisions. And if you know, I loved Life is Strange. I finished the first one. And I love the time aspect of that, of like choosing two things of, okay, do I do this choice or do I do that choice? And this is what the Alters is, right? Is you going back in your memory of your character, and it's a guy. I think it's a very specific guy so they can do this thing, right? And you're like, okay, in my life, I did this thing where I became more physical, I played more sports, and now I have a clone who is more physically able, I can go outside into the environment, right? So in the Alters, a lot of the challenges you're going to overcome are inside your little craft, right? And if you're watching the video, it's like there's a big circle, and inside the circle, there's like base building. So the cool thing as well is it's 2D and it's 3D, where 2D where you're managing a base, sort of like XCOM in a way, where you're managing a base in like a 2D aspect, and then in a 3D aspect when you go outside and you're harvesting resources and things like that. And it has like a set goal, right? Where you're like, okay, do this, do this, do this, go to the next place, right? Do A, B, C, D, go to the next place. And eventually you're going to finish the game. And I think there's a lot of replayability there. Also, the cool thing as well, with a lot of these games, it reminds me of like RimWorld or Dwarf Fortress, stuff like that, with like, hey, this guy has all these personality traits, and this person has this personality traits, and you need to manage this person and this person working together. Thank God there's none of that crazy stuff, because it's way too complicated. It brings a lot of that in, but it's very manageable, it's very accessible. It's nothing that's gonna make you feel like, oh God, I feel like I'm at work or something like that. So that was what I was kind of worried, but the new trailer sort of like dispels a lot of that from it. So a few things what we know about the game. We don't know, there's no confirmed release date yet. This is from the latest trailer, it just is in 2025. Given a lot with what's happening with the world and funding issues for gaming and studio closures and AI and that sort of thing. So when I first looked into this game, it was saying like August 2025, but apparently it's in 2025. So I'm hoping we'll get this by the end of the year, specifically August. Others are going to have to figure out something else to play for this year. I also don't know a price yet, but I imagine this will be like a $50, $60 game. This War of Mine was about a $30 game, so I'm sure they'll do the same thing like what Hazelight Studios did, which is just like bump it up to like the old standard pricing of games. I don't think they'll give us a premium price. The next thing I'm looking for is some real gameplay footage, right? A lot of the stuff we've seen on the 11-Bit Studios YouTube channel is just, hey, here's a trailer, here's the mixture of cutscenes, a mixture of like a minute or 2 minutes of gameplay, but doesn't show you all much of like, hey, let's complete a task in a game. But yeah, really exciting, especially if you like games where it's about how your choices can impact the future, and then you can go back and then make different choices. So this is something to keep an eye out on. Wishlisted on Steam as usual, right, to support the studio. If you're a big fan of 11-Bit Studios and This War of Mine, also definitely wishlisted. I've already done that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I will be able to cover this game coming out August, at least December of 2025. All right, that is it.
I'm interested to see how the
Adam,
changing
you
of
need to unmute yourself.
I'm not muted.
Adam, mute.
I don't know how it muted me there. No, I'm that was weird. It muted me for some reason. No, I'm interested to see how they do the alternate choices in life thing, because I mean, there's a butterfly effect there, right? So it's kind of like, okay, I'm on this mission. What if I go back and I studied math instead of science? Well, if you studied math, maybe you would have met somebody else in college, and then maybe you wouldn't be on this mission, and maybe you're very angry that you're on this mission now, because you're in a completely different life path. So yeah, I am very interested to see that dynamic and how it works.
Yeah, no, so basically, so that's what it is. It's basically you're changing your memory, and the brief image that they show you in the actual trailer is like it's changing like the synapse in your memory, and it's like that you change your physical memory or like your gene memory stored in a computer somewhere, and then you build yourself a clone of this person who's actually on the spaceship, right? So it's cool, and that's an interesting idea of doing it, but we'll see how that sort of comes about. Well, Adam, you're telling us about Inzoid, right? And you must be, hopefully you'll be streaming early access so I can buy it as well.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely be doing early access. I thought you were gonna say like, yeah, one of those things where like, what is it, where they always do the, hey, listen, you get to play the game early. No, not that. Sorry about the construction going on in the background here, so we're gonna see how well we can get through this. All right, but I am looking forward to 𝙂𝙢𝙢𝙦. We have had a few announcements. So over the last few weeks, I'm kind of like, okay, I want to talk about 𝙂𝙢𝙢𝙦, and then it's like, okay, but we just have this one little tidbit. And then it's like, okay, now I want to talk about 𝙂𝙢𝙢𝙦, but now we just have this one little small thing. But now, you know, it's been a couple weeks since I've been wanting to do this, and so we've compiled quite a few things, and it comes out in 2 weeks, or a little over 2 weeks, so exciting. I'll probably talk about it again in 2 weeks, the week it's actually coming out. But yeah, so 𝙂𝙖𝙢 is coming out on March 28th, so like I said, a little over 2 weeks away. And this is just kind of a little refresher on what you can expect to see when you play the game. So first of all, it's going to be open world. We're probably, you know, I'm going to be comparing it quite a bit to The Sims. So that's The Sims 3. So you're going to be able to explore as, you know, walk around. You're going to be able to edit buildings. You're going to be able to customize your 𝙂𝙖. One thing that do keep in mind, though, is from what I've seen from gameplay, it looks like you can actually only control one 𝙂𝙖 at a time. So in The Sims, you can control like a whole family. You can just click on this person, get them to do that. Click on that person, get them to do this. In 𝙂𝙖𝙢, it seems that you are taking direct control of an individual, and you can switch between them, but you are controlling one at a time. So if you're controlling one person, you can make decisions for them, but the AI is going to be controlling the other members of your family and whatnot. So if you want to make the decisions for them, you would have to switch control to that character. But on the customization front, we're getting color and texture customization. So basically, if you have like a pattern that you want to put on a bedspread, you can put whatever you want. And speaking of that, you can actually take images from the real world and you can import those. And this game does use generative AI, but you can take an image of, say, like a dog or something, and then you can make like a three-dimensional pillow for the game in the shape of, sorry. You can make a three-dimensional pillow or whatever in the shape of what your dog if you want, so you can have all these things. On the subject of generative AI, they did say all AI features within 𝙂𝙖𝙢 utilize proprietary models developed by Krafton and are trained using solely company-owned and copyright issue-free assets and data. In addition, 𝙂𝙖𝙢's AI capabilities are built into the client as on-device solutions and therefore do not make communications online with external servers. So yes, it does use AI. It does use generative AI. Another thing, if you want to do, like if you want to create a pattern for like your bedspread or the wall or the floor, you can do, you can input text and it will generate things for you. But that's all built into the game, and they want to assure you that all the assets that they use to train their models are owned by them or are copyright issue free. So don't worry about stealing other people's work there. So anyway, back to the Zoys themselves. They will have various relationship levels. So, you know, it's not just like I like you or I hate you. You know, it's like I like you or like we're friendly or like I'm endeared to you, but it's not, you know, like romantic love, that sort of thing. So they do have complex relationships with each other. They also have several life stages, way more than The Sims. They have newborn, toddler, child, adolescent, teenager, young adult, adult, middle-aged, and senior, which if they put up how long each life stage is in minutes. So if you were to go through the entire lifespan of an Inzoi, it looks to be about 158 hours and 4 minutes to play just one Inzoi. Now, take that with a grain of salt because obviously you can sleep and fast forward time, I'm sure, like you can in The Sims. So it's probably not going to be 158 hours per lifespan. And to put some to put that in context, if you're playing Sims 4, they do have short, medium, and long lifespans. You can choose, do I want a short play, a medium play, or a long play? A medium play in The Sims is 52 hours, 48 minutes, so about a third of the time is Inzoi. But a long play, if you set it to long, that's about 211 hours. So longer. So if you set Sims 4 to long, it's actually longer than Inzoi per lifespan. And speaking of lifespan, they do have an afterlife. So even after your Inzoi dies, they can go to the afterlife, talk to other dead Zois and whatnot. And I believe they have a reincarnation system. So if your Zoi does die, they can come back in a new life. Speaking of, you know, ghosts and stuff walking around the city, there's supposedly 300 characters per city. So if you're playing through the game, there's 300 different people walking around, give or take. And they are interacting with each other in real time. So, you know, if you are off at the beach and you have a friend who's at a cafe and there's another friend who's supposedly at that cafe, when you meet them again, they will have different thoughts and reactions to each other because they will have had interactions while you were not around. So that's pretty cool. It does have, you can customize your buildings just like Sims. You can, you know, do whatever you want there. Seasons is going to be included on launch. So this is something that is not usually included with The Sims. Usually with The Sims, you have to download seasons. But in this game, you will have seasons. So that's going to be on launch, and you do have to prepare for the weather. So your Sims, you know, if it's a hot day, they're going to have to dress for that. If it's a cold day, they're going to have to dress for that. If they don't, they're going to be uncomfortable. So keep that in mind. Also, weather will be included. Sometimes weather is not included in Sims. It's often included in the Seasons DLC. So, you know, we're going to have all that from the get-go. We will not be having pets, though. There's no pets, at least at launch. They do want pets at some time. There's also going to be 3 cities available. Bliss Bay, which is modeled after San Francisco. Hopefully I'm pronouncing this correctly. Unsinku, which is Indonesian influence, or Dawan, which is going to be Korean influence. So you're going to have basically an American-style city, an Indonesia-style city, and a Korean-style city to play in. And as you are taking direct control of your Zois, you can also do things like drive cars and whatnot. So all that is completely controlled. So, and then of course you have all the other things, crime, careers, all that. If you want to be an influencer, you can be that. If you want to be a firefighter, you can do that. And the game also includes a karma system. So depending on what you're doing in life, you will be building up karma, and that is going to impact you. So yeah, it's so real. According to Noble Cooper, I am going to, he says, get it away, but I say, get it towards me. I'm definitely going to be playing this game. I have a plan. It's going to be a surprise, but it's going to be horrible. We're going to see how much we can really mess things up. So yes, I am definitely looking forward to this game. I love this style of games. I do play them, you know, more casually. I've never streamed a Sims game before because those are my Zen games and that's how I relax. So I try to keep, you know, work and pleasure separate. But this one I think I'm going to play on stream. Looking forward to it coming out end of March. Was it March 28th again? Yes, March 28th. So I need to, you know, wrap up my time with Sin Duality and try to get, you know, get back on Freedom Wars and finish that. I'm getting close to the end of that as well. So looking forward to it. But what about you guys? I know Korean expressed some interest in this one.
I'm definitely super interested, and like you said, like I think you have to include AI in a game, and especially in a Korean game, because that's a big thing to sort of pull in investors. But like, I mean, that's cool. Like to be able to generate your own colors and stuff for decorations. Inzoi looks beautiful. I want to see how it runs. I think that's the big thing I'm worried about, is with all the detail, all the number of people. Like, what is the baseline system that this is going to run on, because Adam and I know, right? Like, you live here in Asia, a lot of the games that are super popular don't run on high-end systems because not many people are spending, 2, 3, 4K on a gaming PC here. So a lot of the games are on the low end, like the Lineages, which you still see adverts for here, or like basic style chibi free-to-play RPG games, again, which look really nice, but they're not like a Unreal Engine 5 Wukong style game, which Antoine was talking about a few weeks ago as well. I'm looking forward to seeing how this runs, seeing how Adam plays with it, and I would love to play it, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna crack my 10-hour window of gaming. But hopefully, I'll play it when version 1 comes out, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I was watching some gameplay footage of it. Somebody was playing it, and it doesn't look quite as smooth as it does in a lot of the promotional material. Like, the promotional material looks amazing, and then when I was watching the gameplay of somebody that was like an early access kind of I guess influencer or whatever, somebody that got to play the game, and I was watching it and I was like, okay, this looks a lot more doable on a PC. So it still looks good, but it looked really good, but it did look a little less smooth, I think is the word probably to look for.
Antoine?
Yeah, like the Sims, it's a massive time sink. So I'm gonna wait, for a while that, there's a few DLC and maybe sold as a package, and that the optimization is better, because as what I understand that it's maybe not fully optimized yet. Of course, it's early access, so no wonder about that. So honestly, I'm very interested, and I wanted to go back to The Sims not too long ago. So, but yeah, we'll see. In a while, I don't think I will have time for this year.
I agree. And do you think you'll be able to be finished everything in the next 16, 17 days?
No.
So, I mean, are you just gonna stop what you're doing and just go straight into 𝙂𝙖?
Okay, so 𝙂𝙖 I'm going to be playing on PC. So I'll probably be playing 𝙂𝙖 on stream, maybe a little bit off stream, but I'll still be doing my own thing on the PlayStation. So
And again, right,
yeah.
it is early access. It's not going to be a huge amount of stuff for you to do for like a month or 2 months, right?
I don't know how much there's going to be. Yeah, that's a good question. But I don't think I'll be finished with Freedom Wars, but I'll probably have to take a break from Synduality. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, and for the final video of today, which is something I will probably release at a later date when I'm on holiday. So a bunch of you guys have been searching for Avowed gameplay highlights. You might be sitting on a fence like, do I want to buy this? Do I want to wait for a sale? Some people seem to be having fun. It's still on the Steam's top 20 games or top 100 games of most played games on Steam. I want to save my money for 𝙂𝙖. I want to save my money for whatever else game is coming out later, but I want to play an action game. So I thought I'd put together some highlights, and I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about like, what is there? There have been so many amazing moments of me playing Avowed. But again, in no particular order, one of the coolest things I remember very early on, probably around the 10-hour mark, I was catching this lady who's a quote-unquote trader, and she threw a grenade at my feet, and then I literally, like, the grenade exploded, and I flew back, and I landed, like, flat on my back in the game. I'm like, wow, that's cool. Like, I mean, when you're growing up, right, and you sort of experience gaming, you see all the changes in games. I remember Far Cry 1 was a game that sort of like, wow, they did all this stuff in Far Cry 1, but this is the game, like, to me, maybe I've experienced it before, but it was like cool that a grenade exploded and I fell on my feet. Probably the second thing that was cool, and again, this is not new. If you played the Outer Worlds, I always want to say the Outer Wilds, the Outer Worlds, Obsidian games have these really impactful choices. I just experienced one over the weekend when I got my Avowed working again after all these crazy crashing issues. But yeah, like really impactful choices that gonna haunt you for weeks and weeks and weeks and or months or years, however long. But you make some choices, some good, some bad, and it's impactful, right? Stuff that sticks with you. So definitely the highlights are going to be the choices. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll probably will have a spoiler section, little disclaimer for that. So please be careful because I will show one recent choice that I did make that was quite impactful. But probably the best highlight, and you've probably seen this across a wide range of reviews or YouTube videos, is the actual combat. Like I haven't experienced a game with combat like this in forever. Like Skyrim was like a good choice, but it didn't feel impactful. Like when you swung a sword in Skyrim and you hit something, it was like, okay, yes, and. But in this game, combat feels like there's like heft to your sword, or like when you're pulling back a bow, when you're shooting an arrow, right? You feel like the strain as you're holding the string. I mean, not physically, but like in your mind, just like something is there. And it just moves so quickly. Like, and I did the thing where the director of the game was like, hey, put all your points into dexterity. And like, man, you do that, you can move like an elf in like a Lord of the Rings movie, right? And you run around and you parkour, you're jumping over boulders and stuff, and you're firing an arrow, and you jump on top of an enemy and jump off him and fire an arrow again. And that's pretty fun and it's awesome. And like I can't wait until I try on my second playthrough. I'm going to do this third person camera because first person camera is cool, but I want to see how it actually looks as a third person view. My third highlight, again, what I sort of linked to in what I just talked about, is the parkour is good. Like you can jump and vault over people, vault over things. If you're on the ground and you want to get up high really quickly, you can run, jump on top of things until they offer a high place, and they can start raining down arrows on people. And the movement system is really good. Again, these guys have a bit more of a wider range of gaming experience than I do. But I enjoy the movement system a lot. And the last thing, of course, is just great dialogue. And I'm not talking about the dialogue you do with other people. I'm talking about the dialogue as you're walking through the game, and your companions say stuff to each other, and sometimes they joke about things. And when you're camping and you listen to, so like they're talking to each other, they're not talking to you. And it's just really cool, really well voiced. You might have seen the headline that the voice actor of Garrus in Mass Effect is the same voice actor for Kai, one of the characters in Avowed. So again, if you're a Mass Effect fan and you like that guy, yeah, he's in there, and he's a really good character. Avowed's not perfect, but it's super fun, and there's so many gameplay highlights. I play some things sometimes, I'm like, oh my god, like I could make maybe I will do that, like the really crazy long video of 100 gameplay highlights of Avowed, which would take forever to make given my schedule. But yeah, if you're still on the fence, have a look at some of these highlights, have a look at some of the other videos I've done. I am playing a very strict build. I have not unleashed a sword since my second hour of the game. I'm about 24 hours in at the moment. Only been shooting arrows, even though somebody's standing right in front of me, because that is the rule that I've given myself for this game. But it's fun. I enjoy it. Definitely worth picking up. Definitely worth doing Game Pass, as Antoine has said multiple times on this show. If you're on the fence about it, we haven't heard any confirmed news about DLC. We do know now that it is on the table. As I mentioned in previous videos, I'm hoping we hear something about like a DLC. I would love an extra character class. I would love some extra weapons as a ranger, because only shooting arrows, like I expected this to be like a Baldur's Gate or something where you have like a silver arrow and a platinum arrow and a fire arrow and an ice arrow. You just have an arrow, because it is unlimited ammunition anyway at the day. But yeah, that's another story. And yeah, that's it for me.
And now I want to see 100 episodes of 1 hour of Avowed.
Okay.
But yeah. Cool. Sorry, no, I literally got distracted. My coworker is sending me a message, and she's on Antoine's time zone, so she's awake. All good. So guys, any final thoughts for today?
No?
No, we're good. And
like, subscribe, and share.
yes, please. Yes. I will be asking the guys any sort of additional questions. I know you guys loved Antoine's take on what game has aged like milk on Instagram. People love that. Of course, Adam's Hammerfell video as well is, I think, not as good as his Call of Duty video. Hammerfell, sorry.
No.
Yeah.
You said it right. I was the one that said it wrong. I was making fun of myself.
But yeah, yeah, I always remember Adam's, I think that is the most watched short with 21,400 views.
To my shame.
To our shame, like none of us play Call of Duty. But yeah. Yeah, that's it then. For this month, right, as I was saying, I'll be out at the end of the month. all the shorts will be Singularity on the days we don't have long videos. So please watch those. Some of those are really fun. Check out Adam's full video.
Yes,
We'll be
please.
promoting that at least a few more times. So bear with us. You know, we want to give it the just desserts. Is that the expression, Adam?
Yeah.
Yeah, just desserts it deserves. I can't speak English anymore. I don't know. But yeah, and then we will see you guys next week for more news. Adam, you'll be with us next week, right?
I will, yes.
Nice. So next week will be my last show, and then I will be on a plane from Dubai to my hometown Durban next Tuesday. All right, then you guys take care, and we'll see you then.
Yeah. Cheers. Bye bye.